Today's episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the easiest way to create a beautiful website, blog, or online store for you and your ideas. Squarespace features an elegant interface, beautiful templates, and incredible 24/7 customer support that's no joke. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter offer code CG at checkout to get 10% off. Let's talk about Mack Weldon, one of the earliest supporters of this show and someone who I am glad to support because their product is good. I'm wearing it right now. I feel good in it. My wife says I look good in it. Not trying to get a little too weird here, but it's just the truth. They have smart design, premium fabrics. It's very simple, the shopping process. Even I couldn't mess it up. They want you to be comfortable. If you don't like your first pair, just keep it. They still refund you. That's good business right there. No questions asked. Go to MackWeldon.com. You get 20% off using the promo code BEAUTIFUL. Hello, voyeurs. Hello, audio voyeurs. My name's Chris Gethard. You're listening to beautiful stories from anonymous people. One phone call, 1 hour, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
I have not stopped thinking about this guy since I had the pleasure of talking to him. And I'll tell you, this guy, you'll all see it. He drops a bomb real early in this phone call, and he's either one of the most inspiring human beings I've ever talked to, or perhaps just a maniac. Let's get into it. I want to hear what you guys think about this one. Also, apologies to Tom Petty. We went pretty hard at Tom Petty. That being said, let's get it going. Beautiful Anonymous.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hey, this is Gethard. How are you?
Yeah, how's it going?
It's good.
I'm a big fan of your work.
Oh, thanks. That's really nice.
Did you do a story once about like a guy who poured tea on you? Was that you?
No, that wasn't me.
You,
it sounds like he might be a big fan of someone else's work.
No. I mean, I've heard you on lots of podcasts. You do great work.
Thanks so much. Yeah. How about you? What's been on your mind lately? What's occupying your most recent days?
I record a lot of music down in my basement.
You record music in your basement. Do you release it to the world?
I do. I won't reveal my
That's
name,
awesome.
but I'm the most prolific songwriter on earth.
You're the most prolific songwriter on earth.
Yeah, 18,000 songs that I've released in the last 10, 12 years.
Wait, hold on a second, because there's a part of me that's hearing your voice and assumes you're being really serious and this is totally true, and then there's a part of me that feels like, is this a bit? Have you really released 18,000 songs?
I have, yeah, absolutely. Including a song about you. If you go on Spotify, you search your name, you'll see that there's a song about you by me.
So wait, you're telling me, okay, because we got to make sure the whole premise of this is that it stays anonymous.
Okay.
So no, that's okay. So don't name any band names or anything like that. But you're telling me that you randomly saw a tweet from another show, and that you call in and you've written 18,000 songs, and one of them's about me. This is potentially the most interesting thing that's going to happen to me all week.
Yeah, just try to stop me from promoting myself too much.
No, that's okay. I mean, you called in. You're welcome to do it. I just can't know your name, unfortunately, as part of the premise of this podcast. So, it seems like out of all the calls we've had, you will be perhaps the easiest one to figure out because people can just Google most prolific songwriter in the world.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
I don't know if you find it that way, but yeah.
It's okay. Let me ask you this. What compels a guy to write and release 18,000 songs? What compels a person to become the most prolific? And is this a certified record?
No, but come on, 18,000, seriously.
So you are the self-proclaimed most prolific songwriter in the world.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Now what's the impetus?
Okay, ready? I was in like a regular band, me and my buddy making music that we put out albums, just kind of get them out online, and no one bought any of them. like total failures, except we'd write songs with weird words in the title, and those would they'd earn me like $2 a year. And then one day I was like, wait a second, if I do 18,000 songs with weird words in the title and they all earn me about $2 a year, boom, that's an income.
That's $36,000 a year.
Yeah, they're not quite earning $2 a year, but I'm getting like $24,000 a year from it.
Is that true? You get $24,000 a year by writing songs that you are admitting are hastily prepared, intentional cash grabs.
But what's amazing is how good, for hastily prepared cash grabs, they're amazingly good.
You'll stand by them.
I stand by my novelty songs. Yes, sir.
But I'm going to tell you something I notice about you right away that I love. You know how to sell yourself. You know how to sell yourself, and I appreciate it. You're a hustler. You're on the grind.
Well, I'm still working the day job, and it kills me because I'm the greatest songwriter of all time,
Sure. Now, I don't know where you live. I don't know what region of the world.
Yeah, the phone number I dialed was Massachusetts. Is that just because it's like an online thing?
Wait, the number you called is in Massachusetts?
Yeah, is that just because it's through Google?
Yeah, no, that's through some third-party service. I'm in New York City, man. I'm in New York City, the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps, man. That's where I grind it out. That's where I hustle. That's where I grind. New York.
You were great on this. You were on This American Life just a couple weeks ago, right? Tell me I remember that correctly.
I was doing improv with a bunch of people.
Good work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I apologize. There was a This American Life episode that I thought it was you, but I've definitely heard you a few times. And do you still do the public access show?
Well, I tell you what, the public access show got picked up by a network called Fusion, which is a cable network, so it's my job now. And that's really exciting. I feel really good. It sounds like you and me actually have a lot in common.
We do, because what we do is we stay the course, and we just keep doing our thing with the hope that the world will catch up eventually,
Yeah, like my favorite musician, my favorite band of all time is the Smiths. And they once put out an album, a compilation called The World Won't Listen. And that always rung true with me. And you got to make them listen. So let's talk about that. So how many songs do you get in out of the 18,000 songs before you're like I would imagine you have to have a crisis of faith at some point, right? There has to be many points where you're like, how many of these am I actually going to do?
Yeah, well, I've set a deadline. On the day I turn 40, if it hasn't happened, I'm done. Sorry, world, you missed your chance.
How many years away is that?
2.5 years away.
And was the goal to write 18,000 songs specifically, or is that just the running tally?
I'm looking toward hitting 20,000 by the time I threaten to retire.
So in the next 2.5 years, you're going to write 2,000 more songs.
Yeah, and that's slowing down the pace.
1,000 songs a year, roughly 3. You write roughly 3 songs a day.
Yeah. But there's only like 2 or 3 days a week when I'm able to record, so whatever that works out to. But I did an album called Common Phrases. That was one of my most recent ones, where I Googled the 80 most popular common phrases, and then I wrote a song based on each one, and it's amazing.
And then is the idea, people will go on iTunes and happen to search that phrase because it's possible, and then, because it's popular, and then they'll download that song, and you'll get like 0.003 cents each time?
Yes.
And you say all your songs are amazing. You say you've written 18,000 songs, and they're all great.
Well, I mean, obviously, obviously some are better than others, but I mean, my general approach to creativity is just do it and do it and do it, and you might end up with, if you do 10 songs in a day, I don't know, 6 might be mediocre, 2 might be horrible, but 2 could be gems, and then just release them all anyway. Yeah.
You release them all anyway.
Yeah.
Wow. So does this take up all your free time?
Yeah, but I don't have a lot.
What does your family think? How does your family think? You got kids or anything?
Yeah, I got a 1.5-year-old. I just put him down for a nap, and I was actually going to go record a couple songs, but then I saw this tweet, and I thought, hey, I'm a big fan of this guy. I want to chat with him. And here we
That's
are.
awesome.
Yeah,
so
but,
you have a family.
Anytime I have an open window, yeah.
That mean does that mean you have a spouse, a significant other? Yeah,
I got a wife, and I mean, if it wasn't bringing in money, she'd probably say you're spending too much time in the basement. But it's a substantial enough income with a chance. Oh, maybe. Come on, I could even just double it. That would be beautiful.
So if you talk to me for an hour, I'm costing the world about 2.5 songs.
Yeah, I know, but I can make up for it pretty quickly.
I'm asking this genuinely, and I'm not one to judge at all. Yeah. I'm not saying this in a way that's meant to be judgmental. Are you a madman? Are you a crazy person?
No, let me tell you something about the tortured artist myth. It's a total myth. Yeah. It's ridiculous. All these people are like, oh, only drug-addled maniacs can produce true works of art, and that's complete garbage. And most of the people we celebrate as drug-addled maniacs, I bet half of them fake it just because they know it sells their story. You need to have some kind of catchy story to go along with your art. And unfortunately, drug-addled maniac works. I wish it didn't, because I'm neither. Well,
I really agree with that because I'm a comedian, and the rumor with comedians is everybody needs to be depressed in order to be creative. And I happen to be. Stupid. It is stupid because I think I actually happen to be depressed. I've been in treatment for years, on medications for years. For like 11 years, I've been seeing shrinks and taking pills. And what I've noticed is that there are many people even me when I was young, I was like, man, I can't go on antidepressants because I won't be creative anymore. And what actually happened was I got more creative because I was able to be focused and organized and positive and not get down on myself and not give into these like manic fits and stuff like that. So I actually really feel like that story of you have to be kind of depressed and dark to be a comedian is dangerous, because my guess is there's a lot of creative people who don't get help because they think that it's a piece of why they're creative, and I think that's really dangerous. And I bet, just like you said, musicians, I bet there's a lot of musicians who even fall into drugs to try to engineer some sort of creativity or some kind of story. And I think I think those are real bad myths about artists. I think you and I, again, you proved that we have a lot in common. But I will say this. I didn't ask you if you're crazy or a madman because you fit the stereotype of an artist. I did it because 18,000 songs.
Yeah. I love it. I mean,
that's a different thing.
I mean, I was kind of doing it before it even made money with my original band. I just have this overwhelming desire to create, So
that's
since
beautiful.
I was a kid, but I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at how many hours of TV do most people watch in a day, and they'll tell you 1 hour when in actuality it's 4 hours. They don't even keep track of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, just cut that in half and spend 2 hours working on something productive, and honestly, it's not even that exhausting getting to 18,000 songs. You just go to work. Just go to work. I think the best artists are the ones who don't call themselves artists. They're just going to work, and
working class blue collar artists. I will tell you, I'm getting amped up. I'm getting inspired because you're speaking my language. Because I've always felt like I'm a dude from New Jersey, from a pretty blue-collar neighborhood who wasn't supposed to be creative. And here's what I do is I just make stuff and hope that the rest works out. And sometimes it does. It's nice.
Yeah, but you stay the course. I mean, how many years were you doing public access?
4 long years, my friend. 4 very long years.
Yeah, and I bet there were moments during you were like, what am I doing?
So many stretches of that, and so many stretches. I don't know if you have this from the people who consume your material, but so many times where I was like, I think I'm just about done with this. And almost always when I was ready to pull the trigger and quit, I'd get an email from someone and it would be like, hey, you're making something really cool. And, me and this girl both were fans and now we're dating, and we got together because we both like this weird thing you do. And it's like, all right, I'm going to keep this going for another 3 months because I'm going to think about that email every time I want to quit. Do you have fans? Do you have people? Are there people who have listened to all 18,000 of your songs? Do you have any fans that have consumed all of it? One guy.
Well, publicly at least. He would tweet out every time he got through another one of my albums. until he was done. There's 303 albums that he had to get
Do you know
through.
this guy in real life? Is he a friend in real life, or is he just somebody out there?
Just some guy on
and
Twitter.
What's your relationship with him like? Like, is he a lifeline to you at times?
No, I mean, not specifically, but I mean, I don't need much. It's like, if I just get one positive feedback, or if I did an album with 91 songs about office supplies, and
you did an album with 91 songs about office supplies.
Yeah, and
so one song about. Let me hold on before you move on, because I want hold your thought. Yeah. Whatever you're about to say, I want to get it. We're discussing that guy and positive feedback. Hold your thought. You're telling me 91 songs. So one about paper clips.
Probably, yeah. I don't remember specifically, but hopefully. Otherwise,
one about a stapler. You don't even. How could you? Staples. Yeah. You don't even remember the topics of any. 99.9% of your songs you could not remember if someone referenced them to you. True or false?
Oh no! Like 20%. I'm a big fan. I listen to myself a lot.
You're a big fan of your own music. How many of the 18,000 songs do you listen to regularly, would you say?
I made a playlist of 250 of the best. It's a mere 7 hours of entertainment, and I put that on random quite frequently.
So you have a playlist that is 7 hours long of your own music, and you often listen to it on shuffle.
Yeah, because I do it on Spotify. I get, a half a penny while listening to myself. Yeah.
So again, the artist and the businessman that both live inside you meet again.
Okay, let me tell you about the artist and the businessman.
Tell me about the artist and the businessman.
Okay, let me tell you. Every cool, awesome, drug-addled artist rips off their fans, frankly. I mean, like Tom Petty, he's a super cool guy, right?
Although I saw him live and I was really psyched, and I will say it was the most disappointing concert I've ever been to.
Okay, well, let's pile on then with Tom Petty, because he's Mr.
Yeah, let's
cool.
both go after Tom Petty.
He loves his fans. His fans are love him because he's this cool rock and roll dude. And it's not his fault. Of course, it's not his fault that the record company forced him to release a greatest hits CD with 2 new songs on it back in 1994. So if the stupid fan wanted these 2 songs, we had to buy a whole CD for $16. And Petty's like, hey, not my fault. The record company did it. It's like, but don't sign with a record company if they're going to rip off your fans like that.
It's true, man. It's true. Like, again, to bring it back to the Smiths have a lyric: reissue, repackage, reevaluate the songs. It's all about that. But then again, the Smiths and Morrissey has gone on to release endless greatest hit song and albums and do that exact thing.
Does he repackage? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he called that out in the 80s when he was angry like you and I are, and now he just does the same thing. And then he's gone
on to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so mad. It's just, I don't know. But they hide behind the big record company, but I mean, by signing with the record company, you are part of it, So
let me ask you this, my friend, the artist and the businessman. You knew the question and you answered it first.
I don't want to, but look, I mean, let's face it.
Hold on.
In that basement. Yeah.
Hold on, let me talk. You literally did not take a breath. You judo flipped while you were ranting about how repackaging and reissues are evil and rude to the fans. I said, let me ask you something. You anticipated that. I was going to ask you if somebody came along and said they wanted to put out your 100 greatest hits and your 18,000. You didn't even take a breath from the last sentence, where you had started the last sentence by saying this is evil and these people rip off their fans. I would do it in a heartbeat, was the end of your sentence. So it's like the artist was at the beginning of your sentence and the businessman was at the end.
I will be gosh darn honest about it, though, Chris. That's the thing. If I do it, and I don't want to do it, I'm just saying, look, I mean, what am I going to do? I'm almost 40 years old. I'm still trying to be a rock star, and I think don't
you think there was a stretch in Tom Petty's life when he was like 19
20?
years old?
Like, well, yeah, I was 19. I'm twice the age. I got another baby on the way.
But don't you think there was a stretch of his life where he was like, man, I'm just writing these songs, nobody wants to listen, and if I ever get a chance to cash in, I'm gonna. Which is the same exact conversation you're having with yourself right now.
Yeah, but he acts cool. He acts cool, and he hides
so
behind
you'll
the record
stop
company.
acting cool. You're promising me that if you ever sell out...
I've never been cool. Cool is the worst thing in the world. Everything that's cool is not actually cool. And I'm starting a revolution right here on your show.
You are. This is the flashpoint of a movement. I anticipate that a lot of people, as soon as you just said the word revolution, a lot of people listening to this took the earphones out, threw their iPods on the ground, and sprinted into the streets to start burning down buildings as part of the revolution you and I are starting here today.
It's beautiful, and I'm telling you, I've listened to you on several podcasts. I like your attitude. I like where you're coming from, and this is pretty awesome. Thanks for having me on, but I can force you to talk to you for what, another almost half hour? Yeah.
40 minutes, bro. 40 minutes. Let me tell you something else. We just looked it up.
Yeah.
Tom Petty, your enemy,
yeah.
Tom Petty, a man you have called out, put in the crosshairs, said represents everything bad about literally capitalism to you and art and compromise.
Yep.
He's only written 84 songs, and he co-wrote some of those.
Oh, my God. That's the other thing. What are these guys doing? Releasing an album every 2 years. And
there's an argument to be made that they're really trying to take their time and get it right. There is an argument to be made that they're not just farting out anything about a stapler that pops into their head.
Well, shame on them. Shame on them. And look at the Beatles. I mean, the Beatles are putting 2 and 3 albums out a year.
True.
And they're all superb. And it's the record companies who have figured out that they can make more money if they just push one album for 2 years instead of 3 albums in 1 year. So they're doing it for the money. It just, what a shame. What a shame.
Don't miss the rest of this conversation, I'm telling you, okay? We'll be right back after this very short message. Are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? I think we all are, from time to time. You heard my voice crack as I talked about that very sexy issue. Have you been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com. For a limited time, you'll get 50% off just about any item. And that is not all. No. When you select your one item at 50% off, you also receive 3 free adult DVDs. Get a little inspiration going that way. Plus, a free extra gift so sensual, I can't even talk about it on this podcast. And to top it all off, they'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. And they are not kidding about that. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. You get 50% off one item when you type stories for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and free shipping. Just use offer code STORIES at adamandeve.com. That's STORIES at adamandeve.com. These days, you can get practically everything in your life on demand, like this podcast you're listening to. You're listening to it whenever you want, when it's convenient for you. So why do you still go to the post office and deal with limited hours when you can get postage on demand with Stamps.com? Anything you can do at the post office, you can do right now from your desk with Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, package. You use your own computer and printer to do it. And unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes. So get your postage whenever you need it, 24/7. And look, we all know this. I remember days when I was starting my own stuff. You know, you print T-shirts. Like for the Gethard Show, we printed T-shirts. Go to the post office with all these envelopes, packages. People look at me like I'm a dirtbag because I got a lot of envelopes to send. Nobody judges you. Stamps.com, you do it on your own right now. Sign up for Stamps.com. Use my promo code BEAUTIFUL for the special offer. You get a 4-week trial plus a $110 bonus offer, including postage and a digital scale. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com. Before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in BEAUTIFUL. That's Stamps.com. Enter BEAUTIFUL. A huge thanks to all of the advertisers that are supporting Beautiful Anonymous. Much appreciated. Now, let's get back to the calls.
And it's the record companies who have figured out that they can make more money if they just push one album for 2 years instead of 3 albums in 1 year. So they're doing it for the money. It just, what a shame. What a shame.
Let me ask you another thing. I have a question I'm very interested in, because you sound like a guy, you've thought about your career in this aspect of it backwards and forwards, it sounds like. You
I'm
have
obsessed.
principles.
It's all I think about.
Clearly. You write that many songs. You're clearly obsessed. And also, I will say, you say you've heard me on a few things. You know that I'm one to start messing around. I'm not asking this question disrespectfully. You have told me you are the most prolific songwriter in the world. You have also said all of your songs are great. You listen to them on the regular because you stand by them that they are great. Yes. You have called out Tom Petty. You have thrown Tom Petty under the bus. You have named names. Makes me wonder, who do you view as your peers? Who are the artists that are doing it the right way and that you listen to that you think are also great, that match up with your principles, that also make great music? Who's on your level?
Well, I do like Jonathan Richman. You know him? Modern. Yeah. I like what he does. He seems to kind of keep his nose down, put out music. He tours just with a drummer, no frills. And he kind of celebrates mundane things. So I like that, but I don't know how he handled his business, so I can't say for sure. But look, I mean, the thing is, at Tom Petty's time, he didn't have much of a choice. I'll give him that, because you couldn't self-release and be available worldwide in 1975. So I'll give him that much. But nowadays,
so
we don't have to do that.
So you think that the changing technology, you think that on principle, artists should be walking away from record companies?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. I tell you what, I don't disagree. Or there's also clearly a crop of record companies that actively go boutique and smaller to maintain principles. Do you support those, or is it across the board?
I think each artist should be his or her own record company, because everything gets too big. It's inevitable. Everything's going to get big and bloated. And
I put out a comedy album. I put it out on a record label. Put it out on Don Giovanni Records. It's a punk rock label out of Jersey. I like the bands they put out. I like the things they stand for. But you're saying, no, Gethard fucked up. Should have self-released. You're not a true artist.
Well, for
not
a very
true businessman.
Very small fee, you could have just put it out yourself and then kept all the proceeds. Of course, there's a trade-off, because they're gonna promote you. So it might be worth it.
And I also felt like, well, there's a label that I really agree with what they do, and I would like having their principles endorse me, and I would like, as a person of principle, to endorse them for whatever that means.
Can I get back to Petty real quick?
You go after Tom Petty.
Okay, listen to this.
This is your chance. This is your chance to go out to the public and just cut this motherfucker Tom Petty off just take him out at the knees.
Petty's Mr. Cool, right? Totally cool dude. And
he was at one point, I think.
You know Peter Bogdanovich, the director?
Yeah, I'm aware of him, yeah.
Yeah, so he's on Mark Maron's podcast, and he mentions that that Tom Petty and Tom Petty's people approached him and asked if Peter Bogdanovich would make a 4-hour documentary about Petty. And it's just like, oh my, Tom, you already won. You won at life. And now you're seeking out award-winning directors to make ridiculously long movies about how great you are? Come on, Tom. Come on.
At what point in your life did this real resentment of Tom Petty begin? And can I ask, I would say, it seems like there are many other artists that are also examples of this problem, maybe even more egregiously, you might argue. But it seems like you have a real hard-on for Tom Petty.
Well, there are many others. The same thing with Dylan, the Martin Scorsese documentary about Dylan, where in the documentary, Dylan talks about how he finds people interviewing him to be annoying. And then you discover that like Dylan and his team were behind the production of that documentary. But it's just, anyone in entertainment is ridiculously needy. They're the most needy people you could ever imagine.
As a person in entertainment, I can vouch for that on my own.
Absolutely.
I'm a very needy man.
I'm a needy man too, you know, but they seem to have no self-awareness about it and no honesty. That's the other thing, because they put up this front of coolness that they sell to us desperately, while all the while just like scrambling and desperately trying to get even bigger and bigger. And it's just like, come on. These people, they're like evil corporations. Yeah.
You're a man of principle. I like it. Can I ask you another question about the songs themselves? Because I'm sending you into a real agitated place. Let me ask you this. You have a wife. You have 18,000 songs. Now, love songs, perhaps, especially in pop music, the most popular topic of a song, a love song.
Yeah.
How many of the 18,000 songs are about your wife?
You know, maybe like a dozen or so. Yeah, give or take.
Out of 18,000, you're telling me out of 18,000 songs,
yes,
maybe 12 are about the person you chose to marry and father children with.
Yeah. Well, how many songs has she written about me? And I'll tell you, 0. You know, so I'm.
Does she write songs?
No. But yeah,
what does she do?
Her day job is making teeth for dental implants.
Has she ever made you teeth?
She never made me a tooth. You know, I don't want to ask for it, but you know, it would be nice.
How many teeth has she made?
Not nearly as many as I've made songs, but still, you know. But the thing is, look, how many love songs can there's enough. It's like, all right, we've got enough love songs. How about let's look around? What about staplers?
So you're mad about how commercial music is? You're mad that all that love songs are played out, and you're fighting against it. You're going non-commercial, self-release songs about a Post-it notepad.
Yeah, I wonder if I try to stay away from brand names. So I'm not sure that I did Post-it notes.
Is that a brand name?
I believe Post-it is a brand name. I mean, if you want to call
it's like a Kleenex thing.
Maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe they'd be called sticky notes otherwise. Yeah. But
it's a good question that's going to burn at me forever, and I can't help but wonder if a song might solve it.
Can I tell you about another great album called Household Products and Household Item?
Can I ask, did you put out this album?
Yeah, 81 songs about exactly what the title tells you, and it's surprisingly deep. That's the thing. Surprisingly deep album. The album has been out.
How so?
There's just like there's something going on there. You're listening to it and you're like, wow, these are silly, weird songs. And then after a while, you're like, what's going on here? This is interesting. And it's quite intriguing. And I'm serious.
Now, out of those 81 songs about household products, which one would you say cuts the most deep?
Heating oil.
What is it about your song about heating oil that speaks to the human condition?
It's just this like strange celebration, like I said with Jonathan Richman. It's a celebration of the mundane. You know, it's a wide-eyed look at things we take for granted.
Can I call you out on something?
Yeah.
You're here. You don't like that Dylan he produced his own Scorsese documentary. You don't like that Tom Petty is trying to compromise Bogdanovich. You think everything should be self-released. You don't like repackaging. You don't like all this promotion. You don't like all this fake gilded stuff. You don't like people who write their story instead of just standing on the merits of their music. At the same time, I bet a lot of people listening to this might say, despite all that, a lot of what you've said just sounds like also self-promotion and crafting your own story.
Yeah, and doesn't it stink? Self-promotion stinks. Self-promotion is not cool. What's cool is secretly paying someone else to make a movie about you and acting reluctant about it. But you know what? That's not honest. Honestly, we're all desperate self-promoters, and I am one of the rare ones who's saying, yes, I am a desperate self-promoter. I know it stinks. I'm going to make it as entertaining as possible, but all the cool people that you like better than me are lying. Ooh.
Wow. You got into it. You just went at it, doggy. You just went at it. So you got another kid on the way, huh?
Got another kid on the way, and it would be real nice and I could just make music and make just I just want to earn like what a average teacher makes or something. I'm not looking for superstardom.
What's your? Can I ask what your day gig is?
Yeah, I work 3 days a week at a group home for teenagers.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Abuse and neglect cases. When they're bad, I force them to listen to my music. It's great.
Wait, you work with abused teens? Just jokingly. That one's a joke?
No, I actually work there, but like I'll say to them, if they're misbehaving, I'll be like, hey, if you don't turn things around, I'm going to play you one of my songs. And then it's a good way to kind of just break the ice and break the tension, and then they'll just start laughing, and everyone's happy again.
Okay, so that's a bit you do with these kids, because I have learned already half an hour into knowing you to take most of what you say at face value. Yeah. I'll tell you if I'm lying. So I can say this is a thing that it really touches me to say. The things you do in the world are you help kids who need help, and you put art into the world. Yeah,
15 years I've been working at this group home, and
that's a really beautiful
job.
Thing. That's a great life you've set up for yourself.
It is, and I feel bad saying I want to become a full-time musician because it's like, oh, you don't want to help, children anymore. But
no, but I think there's a thing as an artist too where it's like, you definitely. I feel like as an artist, the whole idea, just like you said, the whole idea of a tortured artist is kind of a fallacy. I also think the idea of a starving artist is romanticized a little more than it should be.
Yeah, because the average artist is upper class. You got to be for the most part, you got to be educated. You got to have leisure time. If you don't have that, you don't have time to develop your craft. So.
There's truth to that, but I even think with the starving artists I know, it's funny this came up because just last night I'm friends with a lot of musicians at this point because with the show I host with the Chris Gethard Show, we have musical guests on, and I've become buddies with a lot of them. And one guy was texting me last night saying he got offered to write music for this commercial, and he was wondering, he was like, is this a thing that I can do? And we were going back and forth because I was saying to him, like, there's something to be said for the fact that you're a person of principles, and that's what's gotten you this far. It's awesome. At the same time, at what point does an artist say, like, I deserve to pay my rent with this? And if I have to compromise what that is, how do I rationalize that? Yeah,
and what's the product? I mean, is it a product that you use? Is it a harmless product?
Is it a thing that, are you going to look into it and say it's not evil? So to me, it feels like, to loop it back around to you, it's like, well, you're saying you feel bad, but at the same time, clearly you've been there for 15 years. You've helped a lot of kids, probably seen many, many hard things along the way. At a certain point, it feels like you have earned the right to be an artist. Probably, but I would say you earned the right to be an artist probably about 13,000 songs ago. It also sounds like you make a real effort to do something good with it, with what you're saying with your songs, even though I would have to imagine, again, in a non-judgmental way, most people probably aren't hearing a song about heating oil and having their heartstrings tugged at right out of the gate. You definitely are an outsider artist who's maybe not making some of this depth and some of this thought you've put into it the most accessible.
Yeah, it's pretty poppy stuff, though. It's pretty accessible stuff.
You like the Minutemen? You like the Minutemen?
Not familiar with the work of the Minutemen. No. Hey,
okay.
How's Ira Glass? Is he cool?
Ira Glass is real cool, man. Great question.
Remember when Mike Daisy lied to Ira Glass? Remember that?
Oh yeah. And you heard it. I heard that podcast, and I was like, "Oh, I don't ever want Ira Glass mad at me." That's what I took away from that.
You should look up the song Mike Daisy, Why You Gotta Tell Lies to Ira Glass. That's a good song.
Yeah, let me guess who wrote that.
Let's go.
Listen, Ira Glass is a real kind man and a real driven man and a very inspiring guy to be around because he's super smart and works hard and really thinks about what he does. And he's been very supportive of me over the past few years. And it means a lot. And it's weird. I found that in my interactions with Ira, what's weird is that he's like a really regular guy. He's just like a really regular, thoughtful guy. And
And he's working. He's got to put out a new show every week.
A hustler.
More or less. And that's
hustler.
Just get
Big
it
time.
done. Get it done. Don't sit.
Big
Don't
time.
be in a field meditating about the meaning of life. No, get to work. Get the story. Get it done by a deadline. Deadlines are huge.
Yes. I agree with you.
Deadlines are
And here's
gigantic.
Too many artists think that it's like Star Wars, like you use the fucking Force, like it's magical and mystical and we're all connected and it'll come to you. And it's not. You got to sit down and do the work. Get organized. You finish that Ken Burns documentary about the Roosevelts later, man. Get right. That's advice to myself. I mean, the Roosevelts were rad.
You want to get struck by lightning, go out in the field. You know what I'm saying? And this is a metaphor in which lightning is inspiration and the field is wherever you do your work.
Yeah. You go. You want to hide. You want to hide inside because you're scared of the storm. That's your own fear. You'll never be an artist if you're scared to get struck by lightning, and it could burn you, but it could electrify you. So not only should you be out in the field, I say you stand under a tree holding an aluminum bat, yelling, "Nature ain't shit. Come get me." Where is this one going? I don't know. Do you know? Probably not. That would be impossible. Stick around. We'll all find out together. We just have to take a short break. Let's talk about Squarespace, a product I am very happy and proud to endorse because they allow you to make a website in a very simple fashion, a simple, easy-to-make website that you can do yourself, that's very intuitive, that you don't need to know code. This is a beautiful thing in this world because making websites is hard. I've used Squarespace to make websites, and I will tell you they are everything they claim to be. Even I couldn't mess it up, and I'm very dense when it comes to this type of thing. The sites, they look professionally designed regardless of your skill level. You don't, like I said, you don't have to sit here and be a genius. You don't have to know how to do code and all that. You can do it if you're just a regular guy like me. It's intuitive, easy to use. You get a free domain if you sign up for a year. Start your free trial site today. You go to squarespace.com. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the offer code CG to get 10% off your first purchase. That's CG, like Chris Gethard, 10% off. There's no reason not to do this. It's all about the phone calls, baby, so let's get back into it. Here we go. So not only should you be out in the field, I say you stand under a tree holding an aluminum bat, yelling, "Nature ain't shit, come get me."
Can I tell you something else?
Yeah. Nothing phases you, huh?
You got to get through the bad, whatever you're creating, whatever you're working on, don't just stop.
Yeah.
Don't bail on it. Finish it, even if it stinks. Finish the project. And then that opens you up to do the next project.
I got a story that's going to set you off, man. I want to hear your reaction to this. I got a friend who was in a band, and this band was great. Beloved. Then the band broke up, and he had this massive writer's block. Mm-hmm. And everybody would say to him, "When are you going to put out your own thing? Everybody's ready. Everybody wants to hear it. Coming from you, everybody wants to hear it." And he was locked up. He was locked up. And I think he talked to me at a certain point, and he was like, I realized that I needed to be willing to fail again. And I had success with the previous thing, and I felt like I wasn't allowed to fail after that. But every artist needs to know you're allowed to fail.
Yeah, that's why sophomore albums are notoriously weak.
Yeah, except Meat is Murder by the Smiths. Great album.
Yeah, I don't know the Smiths at all. I'm going to have to look into
I think
that.
you'd like them. My guess is that you would love the Smiths but hate Morrissey.
Okay. Does he kind of have the artistic approach?
He's a little pretentious, but and his work's less consistent. He puts it out there. I really believe in him. I like the guy, although he says a lot of crazy things and offensive things these days. But I think he has good intentions. But the Smiths, they just came out and they were like, we're going to write songs that are different than anybody else. We're pissed off. We're people who are not supposed to be heard from. We're supposed to be seen, not heard. And screw that, man. He's like a feminine guy, Irish background, Irish immigrant family living in England, in Manchester, which is up in northern England, which gets shit on in the 80s when it was completely economically depressed. And he's like a kind of, I would say it's fair to say that he was like a sexually ambiguous man, took a lot of shit for it. And then he writes all this music, and the stereotype is that it's like real maudlin, depressed stuff, but in reality, he's really angry and he's getting that out there, and I really like it, and I bet you'd like it too.
Can I tell you, my suspicions are so deep that I wonder if he met with a publicist who said, why don't you be sexually ambiguous? Because we find
you look into him, man.
Our studies tell us that sexual ambiguity leads to interest in rock music. And he was like, okay, sounds good to me.
Not in 1982, man.
Oh, of course. And then they looked at David Bowie. They're like, oh, this worked for Bowie. Hey, kid, come here. Come here,
hey,
kid.
Man. I'm trying to share with you a thing I'm passionate about and a person I think you'd like. And without even looking it up or listening to one song, you're taking a big steaming shit on it.
What a jerk. Can I tell you a funny story?
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I got invited.
I love you.
What an opportunity. This is so cool. And I've listened to you multiple times. Now we're chatting. Isn't the world amazing?
You get it out. You get what you need out there, man, and I'll do what I can to get people to hear it.
I got invited it was this art space, like up in the top floor of an old factory, art space, and they were having a show. And someone involved in the art space invited me to perform at the show, okay? And I get there, Mr. Uptight, straight-laced me gets there, and I'm told I'll be going on 5th or 6th or whatever. And so I'm just sitting in the back, looking at my notebook, making sure I know all the words to my song. And guess what happens? One of the hippies at this art space walks by with several other hippies, points at me and says, "Is that a narc?"
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I mean, people say dumb shit like that all the time. I'll tell you, I can kind of believe that. Out of all the rants you've gone on today, that one is the one that I actually, yes, I am not so overwhelmed by that one.
You don't believe the story?
No. I'm saying compared to like it's just, to me, the idea that a hippie would call someone straight-laced a narc is not as surprising as some of the other things we've discussed.
It just made me mad because in my brain, I'm like, actually, Mr. Hippie, I am the greatest creative mind of the 21st century. Shame on you for judging me on my appearance, Mr. Open-Minded Hippie. And coming in a few months is a song called They Thought It Was a Narc at the Hippie Attic, which is going to be a big hit.
Ooh, you're calling these guys out.
10 years later, yeah.
10 years later, you're finally getting around, because you probably put that one in the queue to write, but there were already 11,372 songs that you had thought about writing before that one. Yeah, you know what? You remind me of, here's some words. I want to share some words with you that remind me of you. You tell me if you agree that these words might capture some of your feelings. Yeah, running down a dream that would never come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
It's so vague, It's so vague. It's like, come on, Tom, give us some specifics.
You knew it!
Oh, of course.
I was trying to get you to say you liked it, and then I was going to pull the rug out and be like, Tom Petty said that. Maybe you have something in common. But you don't just shit on Tom Petty. You have done your research to the point where I can say a random quote without even the tune or melody, and you immediately know it's Petty.
Yeah, and it's so vague. Give me some specifics. What is this dream? Does it involve household products? I'm just saying. There's some.
Who are your favorite Jonathan Richman.
Very specific.
Very specific. But here's my question to you, though, about the Petty stuff is, you clearly have an encyclopedic knowledge of his songs.
Yeah, of course they're good. Of course they're good. He's a very talented guy. But frankly, if a record company took 30 of my best songs and forced radio stations to play them and put them in TV commercials, then people would respond to them. Frankly, I'm not even convinced that there's such thing as a good song. I think there's such thing as, brainwashing. And, whatever people hear, they want to hear again. And
so you say you don't know if there is such a thing as a good song. You just said that. You don't even know if there's such a thing as a good song.
I would say we are sort of indoctrinated with our taste based on what we hear growing up, and then for the rest of our lives we like stuff that sounds like that or sounds enough
so
like
you're just
that.
So you're just the next guy. You're just the next in a long line of people who picked up guitars and you're just trying to brainwash these people.
I'm totally trying to brainwash the people, for my own success, and I'm happy to be honest about that. I'm
is
like
rad. I'm going to name some artists. I wonder what you think of them. The Magnetic Fields.
Well, I saw that they came out with 69 love songs, and I immediately felt very competitive. I was like, what's this? Why are they getting attention? What about me? And I listened to it, spitefully. So I don't think I'm a fair.
And did you enjoy it or not?
There were a couple of songs that I liked, but I was too filled with rage to really give a fair assessment.
What if you write an album called 70 Love Songs?
Yeah, and also it's like, 69, wow, that's really, that's edgy.
You didn't like the blue. You didn't like them going blue.
I'm fine with blue, but it's just like, when you go blue to be cool, it bugs me, and it felt like that was trying to be cool. Nothing.
What do you think about these two bands? These two bands, Guided by Voices and Superchunk. You like those bands?
I know Guided by Voices a little bit, and I like their prolificness. Yeah, they just churn it out.
They churn it out. Superchunk, same thing, but here's why I bring them up. These are two bands that totally fit the mold of the type of music I like, and I love everything I hear from them. But I will say on my end, they put out too much stuff. How can I become a retroactive fan of Superchunk? They've put out so much great stuff, but it's impossible to consume at this point because the back catalog overwhelms me. Do you feel like you might run into that same issue?
Well, I have 70 different pseudonyms that I use. So you can just pick any one of them.
You have 70 pseudonyms. Is there any directory that allows people to know these are all you? Are you taking 70 different stabs in the dark at seeing if one of these 70 will catch?
Yeah, more or less. But it's kind of a fun thing for someone to like be listening to one band and then listen to another and be like, wait a second, that's the same guy.
What do you think about our Stevie Moore?
Oh yeah, I've written a song about him.
He must be a dude you like. He just cranks it out.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. People talk about wanting to write a novel or make a movie or record an album, and they talk about it, but they don't know how to start. And the answer is you just start. And sometimes if you want to write a great novel, you have to write 3 mediocre novels, and then before you figure out how to do it. But that takes years.
I'm just warning you, we got about 12 and a half minutes left. So any rants you want to go on publicly and use this as a platform, 12 and a half minutes. I'm going to ask you another thing.
Yes.
Before you discovered music, were you a person who was already prone to obsessing over things?
Obsessing. I was writing books, since age 6. And poetry.
You started writing books at age. You're telling me you wrote books at the age of 6?
Well, yeah. They were like 7 pages long, but I had a cover and And
how many books have you written?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not as good at that. But through grade school, there were several novels. There was one about a group of 4th graders who run away from school on a flying Porsche that we would read. My friends and I wrote it. We would read it to the class every Friday. The teacher would let us read the most chapter. It was fun.
Now that's an interesting thing. Do you feel like the encouragement of that teacher helped unlock your attitudes that last until today?
Quite possibly. So thanks to her. I'd mention her name, but we got to stay anonymous.
I'm going to ask you something genuinely, if that's okay.
Oh, of course. This is great.
18,000 songs. You have a whole philosophy behind it. I really love your positivity, love your approach. Agree with all of it. When you said you got to walk into a field if you want to get struck by lightning, beautiful thing. I'm going to steal that. I'm probably going to steal that.
Good.
Listen, here's my question, though. There have to be people in your life who are worried about this behavior. Have to be. No?
No, well, that's the thing. I can see. I know what I'm doing. I know that if I have self-awareness. I have self-awareness. I kept down a job for 15 years. I have a house and a wife and a kid and another one on the way. I come to
no one in your life has ever said you should go see a shrink and talk about this. No one. Everybody supports it. It's true. It's true. So it radiates true positivity into the people in your life.
sometimes I'll tell them what the latest album is, and they'll just say, "Oh my, what?" But in a fun way.
What's the darkest one? What's your darkest? What's your most brooding, moody, emotional work born of darkness?
Well, I don't know how dark it is, but I mean, my mom is least proud of the Poop albums, of which there are 12 songs, 12 collections of songs about poop. Because
do they all come out in a row, or is this a recurring theme that pops in from time to time?
Oh, complete albums. One of my bands is devoted to poop songs. But actually, two of my bands are. They compete with each other.
2 of your 70 bands are devoted to poop.
Yes, and what did you do?
Different musical projects that are both devoted completely to fecal matter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you written a song about turtle heads? Are you familiar with the turtle head?
Is that the poop comes a little bit out, but not all the way? You
nailed it.
No, I haven't, but that band is coming out with a new album this year, so if you don't mind, I'm going to put it on my list.
I would love it. I would love it if I inspired a song known as Turtle Head. Yeah, well, the Diarrhea Bounce Back is a classic. Poop into a Wormhole is so good. Kind of far out. I want you to know, because you cold called this thing, we got 9 minutes, 18 seconds left, and then the phone just hangs up. The phone just hangs up. So we might get to a point where we say goodbye, or if you see, I would bet you're the guy who just wants to keep cranking it out until that phone cuts off. That's my guess. Yeah, I'm having a blast. I got a lot of thoughts, and I'm down there singing, and sometimes it feels like I'm just banging my head against the wall, and it's like, hey world, acknowledge me, please. But you play out a lot? You play a lot of shows? No. You ever play on TV? I've been interviewed by some local TV stations a couple times. Maybe we'll try to get you on the Chris Gethard Show. If I can sell the network on it, maybe I'll try. Maybe we'll get you to sing a debut Turtlehead on the Chris Gethard Show. That would be so great. Oh, my goodness. I would love that. I would have to violate the rules of this and eventually know who you are, but I think the listeners of this podcast would be okay with that if it led to this crossover of worlds. We'll see. I can't make any promises. And our bookers, I will tell you, the bands love the Chris Gethard Show, and that means a lot to me. So the bands, they really put in a lot of requests, and we got a lot of friends. But if we keep this show going, I'd love to find a time someday. Yeah, no pressure. I'm quitting on June 3rd of 2018. Just keep that in mind. You're quitting writing songs. You've nailed the date. June 3rd, 2018 is the last chance. If things haven't happened by then, sorry, world. See you later. That's done. Your 40th birthday. That's your 40th birthday? 40th birthday. That's right. Now, do you really think you're going to be able to turn it off? Do you really think you're just going to be able to turn this off like a faucet? I might. I mean, I'll still do stuff. I might just keep it to myself, like Salinger. I'll go the other route because I'm making myself super available to people, and it's Did you just compare yourself to Salinger? Say what? You got a whole vision and game. You could just compared yourself to Salinger. Yeah. So far, you have compared yourself to both the Beatles and J.D. Salinger in the course of this conversation. I have, and who else would you compare yourself to? Well, Dylan, but if you don't think you're great, what are you doing? What are you doing? Truth. You better own it. If you don't believe in it, who will? You know Henry Darger? Do you know the artist Henry Darger? I don't know. I don't think so, no. Oh, look this guy up. You'd love this guy. He was a janitor. Children in his neighborhood in Chicago thought he was like a creep. There were all these whispers about him. Of little kids, pictures of children. Yeah. The guy's about to die. They go in his room. They find the longest novel that's ever been written and all this crazy art. The realms of the unreal. It was all about the Vivian girls, these little girls who had penises because they think he never actually saw naked human girls, and he figured everybody just had a body like his, and he just cranked out art. Driven man. You'd like him. He was completely insane. There's people who I bet just listening to this might say you have some elements of insanity. I don't know if that's a bad thing, and I think you have channeled whatever insanity you may have into positivity. How about Jandek? You listen to Jandek? No, I'm not familiar. Oh, my God. Texas musician, Houston, Texas. Since 1978, he put out this insane, mostly atonal, hardly listenable music on vinyl for
like an album or two a year that he just self-released. And he didn't make himself known to anybody until 2004, when he just showed up at like a friend's music festival. And it's, look up Jandek, Jandek.
That sounds amazing. You know Mingering Mike? You know the Mingering Mike thing?
No, sir.
So these record collectors started finding all these crazy albums by this guy named Mingering Mike. And these were like these hardcore vinyl collectors. And they were like, what is this? But here's the thing. None of the record sleeves had actual records in them. And it turned out it was some guy who had drawn all these record album sleeves, laying out the career of this person who never existed. And it turned out that when they tracked this guy down, I believe his real identity is still hidden to the world, but one of these record collectors did befriend him, and he was a troubled man with, I think, an abusive past who didn't write music, but really kind of dealt with his pain by making album covers and making the album covers and distributing them to the world.
Why can't they be happy? I don't understand. Like, I honestly, I feel like people don't respect what I do because I'm grounded and happy. And it's a little frustrating. And it's like, I have to change the perception of the entire culture, in order to...
You're on a one-man quest to change the perception of American culture. Well, I'll tell you something. You say people don't respect you because you're happy. I'll tell you, at least from my perspective, I respect you.
I know, but then you're going to listen to my music, and after talking to me, you're going to be like, it's not that good. Whereas if I told you this was written by a janitor who went home every night and
was filled with pain and abuse,
you'd like it more.
It's true. It's true. That's a story. Let me ask you two more questions. One, because we got 3 minutes, 37 seconds, then the phone is hanging up. I want to know. Give me at least 1 second. You have avoided talking about your past. I've tried to bait you into telling me where all this comes from. You give me a 1-sentence breakdown. What led to this? What led to this?
I love the Beatles, love Dylan, and wanted to do it myself, and then just followed a logical course of action. I was inclined towards silliness, and due to the explosion of online music, if you had a silly word in your title, you'd get a little attention. And I don't care. I just love to produce music down in the basement.
Now, can I say something that I think is the opinion of the world who is listening to this? There's one part of that I disagree with. You said, and then I just followed a logical course of action. And I want to say on behalf of anyone who's hearing this, you definitely did not follow a logical course of action. A lot of people love the Beatles and Bob Dylan and don't write 18,000 songs. That is not a logical course of action, and you cannot with a straight face ever try to say that again. My next question, we got 2.5 minutes left. Is there any way you would be willing right here, right now with me to write a song on your feet that will end this podcast? Number 18,001, right here, right now, a cappella, or I can make a beat, lay down a bass line for you, whatever you want.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
What do you need me to do? You going to go a cappella? You need me to start humming? Okay, you'll just go. And then feel free to rip this. I want to say you have rights to this. If you want to rip this audio and put it out on one of your albums as a live exclusive, you're more than welcome.
All right. I'm going to try to go all the way to the hang up, if that's cool.
1 minute, 50 seconds. Perfect length for a pop song.
Well, I was looking at the Twitter, and then I said, I'm going to call Chris Gethard, and he answered the phone, and I talked about myself for a very long time. Yes, I did. I'm so obsessed with myself. I can't stop promoting myself. What happened?
I was adding a Jamaican air horn hip hop thing. Go.
Because I think I am the greatest musician in the whole entire world. I need the world to know, oh yeah, I'm going to change the culture, oh yeah, of America so that they recognize that I am a genius. And it starts right here with my friend Chris. Oh yeah, with my good friend Chris. Oh yeah, I've already written a song about Chris, and he can look it up if he wants to on Spotify, and I will earn a half a penny, and that will be pretty cool. Oh yeah. I also sing about poop. I love to sing about poop because kids go on the search engine of iTunes and Spotify, and they type in P-O-O-P. Yeah, P-O-O-P. Is the minute up yet or no?
You got 33 seconds. Keep going.
And I sing about celebrities because kids go on Spotify and they search for those celebrities. And then I earn half a penny. Oh, yeah. I earn half a penny. Oh, yeah. That's right. I earn half a penny. Oh, yeah. I earn half a penny. La, 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 la.
8 seconds, go.
Hey, this is fun. Stay in touch, all right?
You're the best, man.
Peace.
Look at that exclusive song. I want to hear your dubstep remixes of that, baby. I want to hear all the remixes you guys can make. I want to thank John. I want to thank Greta. I want to thank Shellshag for the intro music. Support Shellshag, wonderful artists and friends of mine. ChrisGeth.com for touring dates. Chris Gethard Show, we're making new episodes. Really happy about it. TheChrisGethardshow.com if you want info on that. Beautiful Anonymous, if you ever want to call in, please do so. I'd love to talk to you. We'll be back with more next week. Next time on Beautiful Anonymous.
She had already kind of expressed her wishes, like she was a DNR, DNI. She didn't want compressions. She didn't really want anything. She couldn't even really talk at that point. And I remember just freaking out. And I remember just before the patient died, she smiled, like at us. Like I'll never, ever forget that.
Next time on Beautiful Anonymous.
Get out your passports, because you're about to cross the border into Hard Nation. I'm Mark Hard, a proud conservative.
And I'm Pete Hard, a godless liberal. We're two brothers with different perspectives, but a passion for politics. And now we bring that passion to our show on Earwolf.
Now, finally, there's a podcast that tells it like it is about what's really going on in this country.
That's right, it's the election of the century, and we're the only ones willing to ask the real questions like, Hillary Clinton, what do you order at Chipotle?
Or Ted Cruz, who would you cast in Ghostbusters?
Check out Hard Nation today on earwolf.com, Howl, iTunes, or your favorite podcast app.
Ooh, it's gonna get hard in here.
Get hard, people.
This has been an Earwolf production, executive produced by Scott Ackerman, Adam Sachs, and Chris Bannon. For more information and content, visit earwolf.com.